Well, I went over there and looked, and for the last, these are Monday's ratings, opening night for Unrivaled. But that night's ratings, Sunday's ratings, Saturday's ratings, Friday's ratings, that's as far back as I went, all of those cable ratings were lacking overall viewership numbers. So we just have 18 to 49 ad demographic numbers to look off of. Would I normally make a video on this? No. But this channel, well, you guys run.
Initial viewership data for Unrivaled's second season has generated considerable discussion, with preliminary numbers appearing significantly underwhelming. Multiple inquiries have emerged regarding these early performance metrics, which have been highly anticipated by industry observers. Early morning data revealed partial information, specifically the 18 to 49 demographic advertising figures, though complete viewership totals remained unavailable. Accessing comprehensive cable ratings has become increasingly difficult, with limited sources providing daily metrics. When checking historical data spanning Monday's opening night through the previous Friday, all cable ratings lack total audience numbers, leaving only the advertising demographic data for analysis. Despite incomplete information, the available 18 to 49 demographic figures paint a concerning picture. Industry experience suggests these numbers indicate substantially poor overall performance.
This channel, well, you guys run the content on the channel, all right? The viewers. You guys wanted me to talk about this. I'm going to talk about it. Because make no mistake, these ratings are trash. Without even having to see the overall viewers. The 18 to 49 lets me know, I've been doing this long enough, lets me know, oh, these ratings are dog shit. All right? I mean, you may be talking about literally like there is a...
The ratings appear quite weak across multiple platforms. Specific metrics show troubling patterns. TrueTV registered a 0.02 rating, potentially representing approximately 50,000 viewers. The same competition on TNT achieved a 0.03 rating, possibly adding another 75,000 viewers for a combined estimate around 125,000 to 150,000 total. Another matchup on TNT recorded a 0.04 rating. For context, these decimal ratings represent actual viewer counts within the crucial 18-49 demographic. 0.02 equals roughly 20,000 people, 0.03 represents 30,000, and 0.04 indicates 40,000. This particular demographic holds significant importance because it determines advertising value.
I mean, you may be talking about literally like there is a rating on here. Let me just bring this up. Down here at the bottom is a, on TrueTV was a 0.02. They might have been 50,000 people watched that. And then the same game on TNT was a 0.03. There might have been another 75,000 watched. So you're up to 125,000, maybe at best 150,000 viewers. And
networks prioritize these viewers when negotiating broadcasting contracts, as advertisers believe consumers aged 18 to 49 represent the most lucrative spending segment. These figures indicate poor performance regardless of missing complete data. Conservative estimates suggest total viewership likely reached approximately 150,000, almost certainly remaining well under 200,000. The numbers demonstrate weak results by any standard. Regarding venue capacity, Unrivaled expanded their seating from 850 to 1,000 attendees. For perspective, high school basketball competitions in certain regions regularly draw comparable or larger crowds. The modest attendance figures align with the disappointing broadcast metrics.
At best 150,000 viewers. And then this Breeze Phantom game on TNT, a 0.04. And guys, in case you're wondering what this is, that's 40,000 people, that's 30,000, that's 20,000 in the 18 to 49 ad demographic. So when they go to give media rights contracts for leagues, they look at this because this is the number. This is the criteria that advertisers are going to pay for. They believe
These weak ratings emerge following recent statements from Nisha Collier regarding Unrivaled's operational stability. During commentary, Collier suggested her experience with Unrivaled provided insight into establishing viable business models. stating that organizations unable to identify successful frameworks should install leadership capable of doing so. She specifically referenced this when discussing WNBA contract negotiations. Following the release of these underwhelming viewership numbers, such confidence appears questionable at best. The statement received substantial criticism because many anticipated exactly this outcome. Several warning signs existed beforehand.
Advertisers are going to pay for. They believe the most money spent is from people that are 18 years old to 49 years old. All right. So these numbers are bad. We just don't yet know overall exactly how bad. We just know they're straight trash. My gut feeling is probably 150,000 viewers, maybe. Something like that. I would guess very well below 200,000 viewers. They're going to be dog crap.
Social media generated minimal excitement or discussion around the season launch. Additionally, questions arose about star power within the competition. Despite promotional efforts surrounding certain players, including attempts to elevate Paige Beckers, genuine audience enthusiasm remained absent. These athletes haven't generated significant viewer interest or momentum. For comparison, WNBA competitions broadcast on NBA TV regularly attract 400,000 to 800,000 viewers, 3 to 5 times Unrivaled's estimated audience. Even those figures face scrutiny regarding their adequacy.
All crap. No matter what. So that's what I've got with Unrivaled right now. It's not off to a roaring start. I was asked earlier, well, they expanded their seats, didn't they? Yeah, from 850 to 1,000 people in attendance. 850 to 1,000 people in attendance. I told somebody the other day, 2A East Texas.
This context explains why Collier's sustainability claims received such harsh criticism and widespread pushback. Another controversial topic deserves attention regarding salary comparisons between the WNBA and NHL. A social media post attempted comparing average compensation between these leagues alongside viewership ratings, suggesting WNBA athletes deserve equivalent or superior pay compared to NHL players. The post noted NHL average salaries approximate $3.8 million. However, this comparison omits critical financial context, specifically media rights valuations. The post, apparently originating from women's sports advocacy accounts, possibly managed by female athletes, failed to address fundamental revenue differences.
I told somebody the other day, 2A East Texas, 2A high school basketball. I've seen plenty of games where there's more people in attendance than that. I mean, just being real. So, something else I've been wanting to talk about here. This was and by the way, all this comes on the backs of this sustainability comment from Nafisia Collier.
Critics immediately identified a glaring omission: Canadian viewership, which represents the NHL's primary audience demographic. This exclusion provides an incomplete and misleading narrative. The additional revenue from serving 2 national markets significantly impacts overall financial calculations. Most weekly NHL competitions draw solid viewership numbers precisely because they engage audiences across both American and Canadian markets. Examining broadcasting contracts reveals the true disparity. Rogers and the NHL recently announced a 12-year national media rights partnership.
Sustainability comment from Nafisia Collier the other day, talking about how stable the Unrivaled is, and the WNBA should really take note of that. Quote, being on this side with Unrivaled, I know what it takes to run a sustainable business, so I think if you can't find a model that makes that happen, we need to put people in place who can. And of course, after seeing these ratings now, you got to be joking. This is why she was getting destroyed the other day, because everybody knew.
For comparison, the WNBA secured what's reported as a 10-year agreement valued at $2.2 billion. Basic mathematics shows this equals $220 million annually. The NHL's arrangement tells a dramatically different story. Their 12-year agreement totals $11 billion, commencing in the 2026 to 2027 season and extending strategic partnerships spanning over 2 decades. Dividing $11 billion across 12 years yields $917 million annually. The disparity becomes stark when comparing these figures directly.
It was 0.1. 0.1. So it is a 60. So last year, 0.1 was 280,000, as far as I'm aware. At the same time, 0.4 is that minus 60%. That being said, it's still over 100,000 viewers. But this is on national TV. Like that is grim. That is genuinely grim. Like, I'm gonna be honest here. Like that.
The difference between $917 million and $220 million equals approximately $696 million in annual revenue, explaining the massive salary gap between leagues. This represents the fundamental answer to why compensation structures differ so dramatically. Merchandise sales, attendance figures, and gate revenues certainly matter, but television broadcasting contracts drive every major professional sports collective bargaining agreement. Media rights payments, what networks and streaming services pay for content distribution rights, form the foundation of modern sports economics. The WNBA's situation shows substantial growth, with rights fees jumping from $60 million to $220 million, actually closer to $260 million when accounting for existing agreements with certain broadcasters that continue overlapping into the new deal. The financial structure involves some complexity, but the central point remains clear.
Like, I'm gonna be honest here. Like, that is a not ideal number for Unrivaled, especially because it's game one. Like, we know that last year Unrivaled dropped as it went on, and then obviously it like the 1v1 competition did okay. The playoffs had worse views in the regular season. And that's one of the big problems, is that
the approximately $675 million annual difference represents revenue WNBA players cannot access because their media rights contracts don't approach NHL valuations. This gap exists because viewership metrics differ substantially. An NHL game broadcast on ESPN might draw 1.2 million American viewers. Some accounts cite such figures while ignoring crucial context. Those criticisms fail to account for the additional 3 to 4 million Canadian viewers watching simultaneously, creating actual total audiences around 5 million people per game. This comprehensive viewership across two countries generates the revenue supporting higher player salaries.
Regular season. And that's one of the big problems, is that people don't care about this. I mean that when I say that. It's like, I watched it. In general, people don't care. Unless you are a hardcore. It's so funny, people on Twitter being like, oh, Fever fans saying they wouldn't watch Unrivaled. It's like, one, there's Fever players playing, and two, like, if you are literally talking about women's basketball on Twitter, or your social media is based on women's basketball, you realistically are enough into women's basketball to watch Unrivaled. And the problem is unless you...
The comparison between leagues falls apart when examining complete financial pictures rather than cherry-picked statistics. Media rights valuations reflect actual audience engagement, and the numbers demonstrate why salary structures cannot be equated between these leagues, regardless of other performance metrics or advocacy arguments. Initial viewership data for Unrivaled's latest season has arrived, revealing deeply concerning trends. The situation appears considerably worse than anticipated. While true TV broadcast numbers remain relatively consistent with previous year performance, the primetime TNT slot featuring Rose and Lunar Owls tells a starkly different story. The reported figures suggest approximately 100,000 to 120,000 viewers tuned in, representing a substantial 60% decline from the inaugural season's 280,000 audience.
Realistically, are enough into women's basketball to watch Unrivaled. And the problem is unless you are in that target audience, it's absolutely, like, you're just not going to watch. Unless you are in the absolute, like, peak of their audience, unless you are in the hardcore fan audience of women's basketball, you're not going to watch. Why? Because this league is, let's be real, this league is gimmick ball. It is nearly unwatchable. It is nearly unwatchable. Like,
For national television exposure, these metrics prove genuinely alarming. The troubling aspect centers on this being the opening contest, traditionally when interest peaks highest. Historical patterns from the previous season demonstrated consistent audience erosion throughout the campaign. Even the one-on-one competition generated modest engagement, while playoff broadcasts surprisingly underperformed compared to regular season games. The fundamental issue remains straightforward. Widespread disinterest exists for this product. Beyond the dedicated hardcore enthusiast community, minimal appetite exists for this basketball format.
Watchable. Like, we had foul baiting, we had Kelsey Plum taking the piss, we had, in fairness, Chelsea Gray absolutely just like destroying an opponent. We had Marina Mabry shoot 1 of 12 from 3 while looking like she was going to fight. We had everything that could have went wrong. I mean it. Like, everything that could have went wrong when it came down to it.
Social media discourse often features defensive commentary from devoted women's basketball supporters, yet this demographic already represents Unrivaled's core viewership. The reality shows that unless individuals fall squarely within the passionate women's basketball fanbase, they simply won't tune in. The league essentially functions as gimmick basketball, offering nearly unwatchable content. Opening night showcased excessive foul manipulation, questionable shot selection, defensive breakdowns, and overall poor execution. Marina Mabry attempted 12 three-point shots, connecting on only one while displaying visible frustration. Chelsea Gray provided occasional brilliance, yet surrounded by chaotic gameplay.
Went wrong. I mean it. Like, everything that could have went wrong when it came down to it went wrong. So, look, it's not ideal. Again, look, these numbers are going to get a lot lower. Like, a lot of people are saying 40,000 views. It's not that, as far as I'm aware. As far as I'm aware, it's not 40,000. But it seems like it is in and around 100, just over 100,000. Maybe 120,000, which on TNT is lower than any of season 1. And Paige Becker.
Everything that could malfunction did malfunction. Expectations suggest these figures will continue deteriorating. Clarification regarding actual viewership indicates numbers hover around 100,000 to 120,000 for TNT broadcasts, falling below any first-season measurement. Paige Buchers represents the sole potential catalyst for reversing this trajectory, though enthusiasm remains limited. Drawing comparisons, even if the Big Three League secured active NBA talent participation, audience growth would remain minimal. 3-on-3 basketball fundamentally lacks broad appeal, regardless of ownership, investment, or promotional efforts.
Season 1. And Paige Beckers is the only chance of saving this league. But, like, people don't really care. Like, it's like saying if the Big Three brought in, if the Big Three allowed NBA players to play, would that many people be watching the Big Three? No. Genuinely no. It is one of those things where it is gimmick basketball. People don't care about 3-on-3.
Previous season ratings earned a neutral assessment, neither exceptional nor disastrous, simply adequate at 280,000 viewers. Current opening game figures of 120,000 with Buchers participating, plus absent morning session data, paint a grimmer picture. During the initial contest, YouTube streaming peaked at merely 500 concurrent viewers at mid-game, occurring during prime European evening hours. Not at stream commencement or during breaks. 500 viewers during active gameplay. This underscores Buchers' singular drawing power within the league. When she's not competing, TNT viewership drops below 100,000.
Things where it is gimmick basketball. People don't care about 3-on-3. No offense to the owners of Unrivaled. People don't care about 3-on-3 at all. And like, where's the rest of the chart? Dead on arrival. Like, and the fact is, like, their ratings last year, I literally made a video being like, Unrivaled ratings aren't great, but they're not bad either. And I stood by that. They weren't great, but they weren't bad. They were fine. They were absolutely fine. I would not have considered
Without her presence, numbers plummet further. The league currently possesses only one legitimate attraction. Losing Sabrina Ionescu and Angel Reese creates massive voids because general audiences lack investment. During the inaugural campaign, Reese generated engagement through competitive intensity, posting dominant statistics in limited minutes while her team remained competitive. Dejanai Carrington earned all Unrivaled recognition through passionate play and willingness to engage opponents, providing compelling narratives. Currently, discourse revolves around Connecticut basketball connections, making premature comparisons between Buchers and Kawhi Leonard, with Candace Parker receiving criticism for suggesting measured perspective.